Hopelessness. Yeah, I said it. Hopelessness 2.0. June 29th. Well, Roe v. Wade has been aborted. Hence the hopelessness. I've been saying for years now that the Civil War has already begun. Civil War 2.0. At least the American Civil War. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. So there's not complete hopelessness. But at the same time, I don't really think I'm wrong. Before the election, the 2020 election, when Fuckface 45 was doing everything he could to say that the election was going to be rigged and that mail-in voting was fraudulent, and just setting this precedent of, hey, we're going to challenge the election. We're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that I win, either legitimately or illegitimately. And when he said he wouldn't, or at least he basically just flat out refused to answer whether or not there would be a peaceful transition of power. Well, I believe what he actually said was something along the lines of, if we win, there will be, because there won't need to be. And if we don't win, then we know that it was rigged. He's setting up this heads I win, tails you lose scenario. And that's not healthy. That doesn't bode well for a healthy election. And then when people are already on his side and, white supremacist bullshit and stand back and stand by and all that other crap, and people in the streets over the dumbest fucking shit, and then, especially with COVID-related crap, and him failing, it's like, you know what? This doesn't have my name on it. So I'm going to get rid of the pandemic response team. Because we don't need that. And then we have a pandemic that he knew about and downplayed and all that shit. And it's like, why am I being political? Why am I talking about him? Why am I not talking about Roe? Because he's the one that got us there. He's the one that helped get us there. And then, of course, you have Mitch McConnell, who wouldn't even give an inch for Obama to actually implant somebody. And the only reason Ketanji Brown is going to be a Supreme Court justice, or is, I can't remember exactly because there's been so much shit going on, I can't remember fuck all, is because Mitch McConnell isn't the majority leader anymore. He's the minority leader. And it's like, how much shit do we have to go through until we actually get, real rights for people who have deserved them all their lives, who grew up in this country, learning to love this country for better or for worse, and are constantly told that they're not worthwhile, or they're not even people. The sheer fact that we are still dealing with this shit to this day, it's not just upsetting, it's infuriating. And it's the reason that the many reasons why, if I could, I'd move out. I would leave. right now I'm trapped. Just like a lot of people in America. I'm trapped where I am. Because I don't make enough money to save up to go beyond my rent. Even though I'm doing everything that I can. I'm buying cheaper and cheaper ingredients and trying not to go crazy. But, I'm still buying reasonably useful appliances so that, when this is $30 and it helps me make 4 pizzas, yeah, it's cheaper than, buying 4 pizzas. I just finished eating pâte à choux. I had that last couple of days and fuck, it was delicious. And on the last quarter of the pâte à choux dough, I mixed in some bacon bits, and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And it was good. It was savory. It's not, and I was like, well, I tied up just a little bit of the pastry cream that I had also made. Didn't work, but I was like, all right, let's do some sour cream. Worked out perfectly. So if I'd had a piping bag situation or something like that, it, would have been perfect for that. I spend sometimes weeks thinking about what I'll do with what little money that I have, just to see if I can stretch my dollar further once I have those things. The mixing bowls, they're $10 each, and they have already paid for themselves in so many ways. And it's I am trying to save money, but I'm also trying to save goddamn sanity this whole time too. That's why I'm making pizzas. That's why I'm not buying a bunch of, refrigerated or frozen stuff, even though I'd really like to. And that's why I'm eating whatever I can at work. Even though it's probably not going to be the healthiest shit, it'll at least stave off my hunger so I don't have to bring food from home and affect my bottom line. It's like I am the working poor. I have $1,500 a month for this place. I'm trying to find a place that's in, closer proximity to where I work, but good luck with that. Because then most of them are going to need, first month's rent, last month's rent. They're going to need deposit. Probably, maybe 50% of the time, there might be some, bills involved. I don't know. Meanwhile, the entirety of the country's privacy rights have just been chipped off. And no, we're not eroding our rights. Erosion doesn't work that fast, to quote Total Biscuit. I've been finding myself in, looking at doing more comforting things, whether it's watching certain things. I've been watching the Terraria playthrough with TB and Jesse, because apparently I need some kind of comforting background noise like that. It's yes, women are the major victim of this ruling, but everybody also has just had their rights diminished, because it's a medical thing. It's privacy related, and it's and then you have Thomas who's yeah, let's just keep going. Let's take this and add some momentum to it and get rid of a couple of other things in the process. Whether it's same-sex marriage or same-sex sodomy laws, or if it's birth control laws, and it's it makes you wonder why people will do what they do. And I've spent a lot of time trying to pay attention to the conservative side of stuff, and they're much more on the extreme side of conservative when looking at Reddit, because they're this they're kind of toe the line of Reddit rules, but then do it their own way. I mean, I even got banned on my on the other account for shit posting, even though it was just a comment, because apparently they can just, despite them being so pro freedom of speech, they'd be like, let's go ahead and just ban some people for no fucking reason. And it's like, the hypocrisy is part of how one dominates. If you control the narrative, that's one way of dominating. But if you just randomly disappear some people, same thing. It makes you look like a threat. It makes you look like you're the one in charge and the one that's in power. And having moved into this new job and learning what I'm learning and experiencing what I'm experiencing with these people, and looking at the state of society at large, it's honestly making me want to learn more and more about social psychology. I was talking to my therapist on Monday about this, and he was, telling me all these qualities that I have, and I've forgotten most of them. One being that I'm easy to approach, i.e. affable, easy to talk to, which I think is just an extension of the same thing. But I'm generally not biased when I try to have a conversation with people. I try not to be, I am, but I try not to be. I try to listen, I try to make sense of what people are talking about. And like abnormal psychology, while interesting specifically to me, I want to look at more of the wide-ranging things. It's like one of the guys at work was talking about this anthropology class when it came to the concept of sports. And I was like, what? I want to learn about that. That'd be kind of cool. Because I don't fully understand why we have this us versus them mentality when it comes to sports. It's like, you're not even playing the game. How come you think you're on the team? How come you have, this personal connection to it the way that you do? There's a bit of judgmentalism to it, but that's only because I've been coming away from it for so long. Now I'm sort of circling back and looking at it from a different angle because I was in it as a kid. I grew up in that environment, and I don't know why I was a part of it. I don't know why I was such a Dallas Cowboys fan, other than the fact that I just grew up there. And it makes me want to know why people think the way they do. And I mean, you're not going to get the full answer. You're never going to get a full answer from somebody. It's just not possible. Even if they tell you, and even if they're being as brutally honest as possible. Just got out of the shower, so I'm getting hairs stuck to me. I need to shave at some point too. But even if somebody tells you as much of the truth as they understand about themselves, you're still not going to get the full thing. Because they may not fully understand themselves. So you can never get the full picture. And I'm aware of that. And then there's also the fact that people want to hide things about themselves. I mean, just what was it? There was a post on, I want to say it was, what the hell was it? Data is Beautiful. I was on Imgur, and somebody had posted this graph. It was a bar graph, and it was talking about hate crimes when it came to 2021, and never know if it's fireworks or gunshots. It's usually fireworks, but who knows? Maybe someone's launching fireworks while they're shooting people. But it was showing number of arrests for hate crimes, and it was breaking down various hate crimes by groups. And the largest array of persons who were arrested were black men and women. And apparently black women have like this super hard on, this was like in New York City, against Catholics. At least per the data. Now overall, the amount of actual arrests wasn't super huge. It was like maybe a couple hundred, which sounds like a lot. Until you realize that's a fraction of a percent of the entire population of New York City. But what's also interesting was that there weren't a lot of arrests for white hate crimes, i.e. persons who are white who are then arrested for hate crimes. Despite the fact that there are fewer black people, fewer general minorities, although one could say maybe not so much when it comes to New York, but in general, white people are still technically the minority, even if they're, or the majority, even if they're not a full majority. They may be a plurality in that there's a higher percentage of them as an individual group than there are other minorities as individual groups. It's the same thing when it comes to like voting. Nobody truly gets the majority vote. It's a plurality because it's the first past the post. If nobody votes, the lack of votes isn't also counted. They're discounted. If didn't vote for whatever reason was counted, nobody would win because that would be the majority, or at least the plurality. And, you know, there were people who were like, well, they were all very much skirting this phrasing that they were trying to say. They're like, well, this data says some stuff, but, you know, you can't really say what's on your mind because then people might get on your end. And it's like, yeah, maybe the data is skewed. Maybe because, I don't know, certain people are arrested for things more often for whatever reason, whereas other people aren't arrested as often for whatever reason. Often that reason being, at least in the mind's eye, is racism. And those people wouldn't be hiding that fact, but they're hiding something else. And they're basically trying to say, well, it looks like black people are more violent. That's what they're saying, without saying it. How to say, you think black people are more violent, or what have you, without saying it. And there was a lot of that going on. It's like we're still so divided. And it's like this piece of data only shows arrests. It doesn't show anything else. It doesn't show wrongful arrests. It doesn't show convictions. And even if it's a conviction, it doesn't tell you if the conviction was based on a plea deal. It doesn't tell you why a person makes a plea deal. It doesn't tell you why a person wasn't arrested in the first place because there was no arrest. And so how can you measure a negative in that regard? We have so many systemic issues in this country. It's like, you know what? You want to stop abortions? We're going back to abortions. We're going back to systemic issues. If you want to stop abortions, give people what they need. Give people the ability to work a job without needing to work the job just so they can keep the roof over their fucking head. Give people health care. Give people food. Give people emergency health care of all kinds. Just health care. Preventative health care, not just emergency. If it were cheap and easy to go see a doctor, I wouldn't have once a month meetings that are over the phone with my therapist. I could have once or twice a week in person. But it's not cheap and easy. It should be free at point of entry, at point of sale, if you want to call it that. Raise my taxes a little bit. I don't give a fuck. If raising my, like I said in a previous one, if doubling my taxes meant guaranteeing everybody's needs were met, fuck yeah, double my taxes. I don't give a fuck, triple them.
Because I don't think anybody needs to fight to survive anymore. Nobody should have to. We made it. It's just like that. It's a weird analogy. It's a weird connection, but it works. College Humor has put out quite a lot of good content in the last several years, and especially because they have Brennan Lee Mulligan. Brennan Lee Mulligan is, in my personal opinion, straight up a Renaissance man. I am not even being hyperbolic. The man is stupidly talented in so many ways. He's a great storyteller. He's got a phenomenal imagination. He's hilarious with improv, etc. Like, he's not an artist in the sense of I can paint a picture. He can paint a picture with his fucking words, and he does it so flawlessly. It is literally mind-blowing how talented this man is. And he has been the part of this web series that they have on College Humor for like the various CEOs of different organizations. One being like one was what was it, Movie Pass, and then there was what else? Tide Pods, and Venmo, and all sorts of stuff. But the one that I always gravitate towards, and the one that I'm using in this analogy, is Oreo. And he's like, super excited. He's coming into work, and it's like, and some of the people who have been like, well, we've been hard at work, and, formulating. He's like, why? Why are you hard at work? We made the perfect cookie. We don't need to do all these other things. At one point, even in the skit, it goes to the point where he's got like a fucking like a Bluetooth Wi-Fi cell phone version of it. It's ridiculous. And I'll put a link into that if I remember to. But he's like, cash the check. Don't work hard. You don't have to. We won, basically. That's what society has done. We've made the Oreo cookie. We don't need to create variation on it. Yeah, we can improve society in a lot of ways. It's no problem. I'm talking about the fact that when it comes to the baseline, nobody needs to work that hard. Just cash the check. But for whatever reason, we got people out there who want to make life suffer. They want people to suffer just to exist. And then, to top it all off, when it's already hard enough being alive, we have now just made it to where more people are going to be born into that. And to me, that's torture. And that just happens to go along with so much of what's been going on in the world of conservatism in the last 20 plus years. Torture has always been on the table. And when you have people who were suffering under Trump and they were like, well, he's not hurting the right people, it really tells you a lot about what they're really thinking about. And this is going to hurt the right people in their mind. Because the people who don't deserve to get hurt, well, the big fish, they'll figure out a way. And it won't be a problem. Because they'll do anything it takes to succeed. They're the big sharks. Everybody else is minnows, etc. This is another analogy. I can throw the Innuendo Studios video up for the always bigger fish. But the overturning of Roe v. Wade hurts the right people. And that's the wrong way to run a country. Have fun.